Top of the morning, happy campers. How's life on this lovely Friday? I hope you're all feeling okay and keeping safe from that nasty virus. Today, I want to talk about YouTube. Something that I can pretty much say with certainty that you all know what I'm talking about. It seems as though we're having an eventful couple of months on the platform. I mean, a lot has been happening within the various different communities across YouTube. All the little ecosystems that we have grown over the years seems to be falling apart. And I guess that made me think. Today I want to take a little look at the history of YouTube and see what points things started changing. Hopefully if we can better understand the past, we have a better chance of understanding the future. So I mean, it's no secret that YouTube has been changing, and it has been for the past few years. As the platform battles misinformation catastrophes and discovers new ways people are abusing its system, the company has shifted towards more commercial, advertiser-friendly content. The golden age of YouTube, you know, the YouTube of a million different creators all making enough money to support themselves just by creating videos they love, I guess is sadly over. YouTube was founded on the promise of creating a user-generated video platform, but it was something else that helped the site explode into popularity: piracy. When Google bought YouTube in 2006 for a whopping $1.6 billion, the platform had to clean up its massive piracy problems. It was far too easy to watch anything and everything on YouTube, and the movie studios, the television conglomerates and record labels were all seething. Under Google, YouTube had to change. So YouTube's executives focused on the very content its founders designed the platform with in mind: original videos. The focus on creator culture defined YouTube's culture from its earliest days. The platform was a stage for creators who didn't quite fit into Hollywood's restrictions. I argue it's what made the site so great in the first place. It allowed people like Jenna Marbles, like PewDiePie and Channel Smosh and Lily Singh to thrive. Between 2008 and 2011, the volume of videos uploaded to YouTube jumped from 10 hours every minute to a massive 72 hours every minute by 2011. YouTube had generated more than 1 trillion views. That's a lot of zeros. People were watching over 3 billion hours of video every month, and creators were earning real money via Google AdSense. Might I say, a lot of it. Early stars like Jenna Marbles were making more than 6 figures by late 2011. By 2012, creators like PewDiePie were leaving school or their full-time jobs to focus on YouTube. He told a Swedish news outlet that he was getting more than 2 million views a month, boasting just over 300,000 subs. This was a level of attention completely new to him. "I almost feel unworthy," he said at the time. "It's too much. I was happy with just having this as my job." But now, when there are so many people watching and appreciating it, it's really a lot of fun. He, perhaps more than anyone else on the platform, demonstrated what success on YouTube could look like. And between 2011 and 2015, YouTube was a haven for comedians, filmmakers, writers and performers who were able to make the work they wanted and earn money in the process. It gave birth to an entirely new culture that crossed over into the mainstream. Creators like the Rooster Teeth team and Tyler Oakley went on tours to meet fans after generating massive followings online. YouTube had reached mainstream success, but in many ways it still felt wide open. It still felt like just about anyone could upload and gain a following without much help from YouTube. Behind the scenes, things were changing though. YouTube had begun tinkering with its algorithm to increase engagement and experimenting with ways to bring flashier produced content onto the platform to keep up with growing threats like Netflix. In October 2012, YouTube announced that its algorithm had shifted to prefer videos with longer watch times over higher view counts. This should benefit your channel if your videos drive more viewing time across YouTube, the company wrote in a blog post to creators. This meant videos like David After Dentist and Charlie Bit My Finger, which defined YouTube in its early days, weren't going to be recommended as much as longer videos that kept people glued to the site. In response, the YouTube community began creating videos that were over 10 minutes in length, as a way to try and appease the system. I figured out ways to monetize and take advantage of the power of the algorithm, comedian Cody Ko told DigiDay last year. Then there was original content. In 2011, YouTube invested $100 million into more than 50 premium channels, betting that adding Hollywood talent and authoritative news sources to the platform would drive up advertising revenue and expand YouTube to an even wider audience. It failed less than 2 years later, with what appeared to be a clear lesson. Talent native to YouTube was far more popular than any of the big names from the outside. YouTube took that lesson and made YouTube red. In October 2015, YouTube launched a $9.99 per month subscription plan that included ad-free viewing and new original series. Unlike YouTube's last premium initiative, YouTube Red would focus on the platform's homegrown talent and paired them with professional filmmakers to draw in subscribers. Bringing household celebrity names to YouTube while keeping the faces of the creator community front and centre seemed like the best way to make a move into a space dominated by Netflix while staying true to YouTube's audience. For a while, the creator community, which was thriving, and thanks to the added incentive of sponsorship deals combined with Google's AdSense platform, were doing pretty good. Prank channels like FauciTube jumped in popularity. Gaming became a massive ecosystem, beauty how-tos took off, vlogging went mainstream, unboxing videos became common and even popular, toy channels exploded out of nowhere, family videos found an ardent niche, and although graphic sketch videos like the Raka Raka twins may not have been what Google showed off to advertisers, it was still easy to find on the platform. 2015 was a year when YouTube was at its most vibrant in my eyes. People were doing better than ever. Then, suddenly creators started encountering problems on the platform. In 2016, personalities like Philip DeFranco, comedians like Jesse Ridgway and dozens of other popular creators started noticing that their videos were being demonetized. A term popularised by the community to indicate when something has triggered YouTube's system to remove advertisements from a video, depriving them of revenue. No one was quite sure why, and it prompted complaints about bigger algorithm changes that appeared to be happening. PewDiePie posted a video detailing how the changes had nuked his viewership numbers. He'd been getting 30% of his traffic from YouTube's suggested feed, but after the apparent algorithm update, the number fell to less than 1%. He jokingly threatened to delete his channel as a result, which was enough to get YouTube to issue a statement denying that they had actually changed anything. These perceived secretive changes instilled creators with a distrust of the platform. It also led to questions about their own self-worth and whether the energy they were spending on creating and editing videos, sometimes north of 80 hours per week, was even worth it. A co-founder of Smosh and one of the first biggest creators on YouTube said in a recent video that the changes began to affect his mental health. Initially he said he saw a clear line between how much work he was putting into a video and how many views it brought in. So I associated that more views meant that my effort had paid off, he said. Then the algorithms appeared to change, and view counts went all over the place, in ways that he couldn't really make sense of. I could put hundreds of hours of work into something, and the views could be much lower than I was expecting. I would start to equate that with my sense of self-worth. Padilla wasn't the only one feeling this way. By the end of 2016, when algorithm changes were creating headaches for some of the platform's biggest creators, people started announcing that they had to take a break from the site that they called home. YouTube wasn't what it was between 2011 and 2016, they didn't understand it anymore, and trying to keep up with a machine they didn't recognise and couldn't really rely on was driving people to burn themselves out faster and faster, including creators like PewDiePie. YouTube was exerting more control over what users saw and what videos would make money. Once again, the community would adapt, but how it adapted was far more problematic than anyone could have guessed. By the beginning of 2017, YouTube was already battling some of its biggest problems in more than a decade. YouTube's founders didn't prepare for the onslaught of disturbing and dangerous content that comes from people being able to anonymously share videos without consequence. Adding a moderation team that couldn't keep up with the 450 hours of videos that were being uploaded every minute, and it was a house of cards waiting to fall. YouTube had come under fire in Europe and the United States for letting extremists publish terrorism recruitment videos onto its platform, and for letting ads run on those videos. In response, YouTube outlined the steps it was taking to remove extremist content, and it told advertisers it would be careful about what their ads were placed on. It highlighted many creators as a safe option, but neither YouTube or Google was prepared for what Felix PewDiePie Kjellberg one of YouTube's wealthiest independently made creators would do. In mid-February 2017, the Wall Street Journal discovered an older video from Kellberg that included him reacting to a sign held up by two kids that said "Death to all Jews." The anti-Semitic comment was included in one of his React videos about Fiverr. After having pivoted to more of a variety channel instead of focusing on just games, his video, along with reports of ads appearing on terrorist content, led to advertisers abandoning YouTube. PewDiePie was also dropped from Disney's Maker Studios. He lost his YouTube Red series, Scare PewDiePie also, and he was removed from his spot in Google Preferred, the top tier ad platform for YouTube's most prominent creators. A lot of people loved the video, but a lot of people didn't. It's almost like two generations of people arguing if it's okay or not. PewDiePie said in an 11-minute video about the situation, "I'm sorry for the words I used, and as I know they offended people. And I just admit the joke went too far itself." The attention Kellberg brought to YouTube kickstarted the first adpocalypse, a term popularised within the creator community that refers to YouTube aggressively demonetising videos that they may see as problematic. In an effort to prevent companies from halting their ad spending, aggressively demonetising videos would unfortunately become YouTube's go-to move. It would affect everyone, and YouTube's top talent would use the platform to air their grievances. While people understood why Kellberg's channel had come under scrutiny, they weren't happy about the greater effect it had had on the ecosystem. Everyone seemed to be paying for Kellberg's mistake. While YouTube grappled with its first adpocalypse, a new generation of stars were flooding to the platform. The January 2017 closure of Vine, a platform for looping 6-second videos, left a number of creators and influencers without a platform. Many of those stars moved over to YouTube. David Dobrik, Lisa Koshy, Lele Pons, Danny Gonzalez, and, of course, Jake and Logan Paul. They all became instant successes on YouTube, even though many of them had started YouTube channels years before they even had success on Vine. YouTube's biggest front-facing stars began following in the footsteps of the over-the-top bro prank culture. Think Jackass, but more extreme and hosted by attractive 20-somethings. Logan Paul pretended to be shot and killed in front of young fans. Jake Paul rode dirt bikes into pools. David Dobrik's friends jumped out of moving cars. The antics were dangerous, but they caught people's attention. The Viners quickly amassed tens of millions of subscribers, and they were touted by YouTube as the new faces of the platform in the company's annual YouTube Rewind video, which is essentially a highlight reel for advertisers. They became the biggest stars of this new wave, performing dangerous stunts, putting shocking footage in their vlogs and selling merchandise to their young audiences. Although they tethered on the edge of what was acceptable and what wasn't, they never really crossed the line into creating totally reprehensible content. But other creators saw something in the Paul brothers that left them concerned. Longtime creators like PewDiePie, who was trying to return his channel to normal after dealing with the consequences of his actions, and Ethan Klein called out the Paul brothers for their dangerous and senseless antics. "This is the state of YouTube, guys," Klein said. "These people aren't like, how do I make good content? It's more like, how do I make it more dangerous? Risky shit that's so over the top people have to click it." Their complaints propelled the Pauls even further. The brothers hit back with a series of diss tracks that brought in more than 150 million views, making them bona fide YouTube celebrities who were incredibly wealthy. It didn't even matter that Jake Paul had been evicted for performing YouTube stunts at all hours of the night, or that Logan Paul caused a riot at VidCon, a popular YouTube convention, when meeting loads of fans. YouTube still promoted them to advertisers and brought them into Google Preferred. Even brands like Nike were appearing in Logan Paul's videos, even when those videos included children watching a prank of their favourite vlogger being shot against a window. The only problem was, it just wasn't really a sustainable form of entertainment, and it seemed like everybody understood that, except for YouTube. But a huge nail in the coffin would be when Logan Paul visited Japan. Logan Paul's Suicide Forest video irrevocably changed YouTube. We all know the situation, so I won't bore you with the details, but the bottom line is, it's hard to see the video as anything but an egregious gesture of disrespect. Within hours of posting the video, Paul's name began trending and he received a whole load of backlash. YouTube reacted with a familiar strategy. It imposed heavy restrictions on its partner program, which recognises creators who can earn ad revenue on their videos, sharply limiting the number of videos that were monetised with ads. Once again, the effects rippled through the community. Smaller creators like Christine Barger, a lifestyle creator who was in the partner program, would be kicked out of YouTube's monetisation program following the new sanctions. She says, "I feel stupid for crying because honestly it's silly. It's not like it's millions of dollars, and honestly it's not even about the money. It's about the fact that I've been a part of YouTube for a really long time, and it just feels like they don't care about small creators." The only people who didn't receive blame were YouTube executives themselves, something that commenters like Philip DeFranco took issue with after the controversy first occurred. DeFranco said, "The only reason it was taken down is Logan or his team took it down. YouTube didn't do a damn thing. Part of the Logan Paul problem is that YouTube is either complicit or ignorant." For small creators, the following months would be even worse. YouTube faced an escalating crisis of radicalisation and sweeping conspiracy theories that had been ignored by executives for years. The company's first small efforts to address these serious issues, promoting content from musicians, late night shows and recommending fewer independent creators, would have huge secondary effects on the middle tier creators who had once been the heart of the platform during its golden period. It pushed YouTube towards the same exact Hollywood content to which it had once been an alternative. So what do? What happens next? By the middle of 2018, lifestyle vloggers like Kerry Krista, who had just under 40,000 subscribers, were proclaiming how the community felt. Forgotten. YouTube seems to have forgotten who made the platform what it was, Krista told PR Week. In an attempt to compete with Netflix, Hulu and Amazon, she said, YouTube is pushing content creators away instead of inviting them to a social platform that encourages them to be creative in a way that other platforms can't. Individual YouTube creators couldn't keep up with the pace of YouTube's algorithm set, but traditional mainstream outlets could. Late night shows began to dominate YouTube along with music videos from major labels. YouTube is now mainstream. It's no longer the backyard video shot on a potato, it's flashy sets, executives and red carpets. And I guess that's where we are today. Our user-driven video sharing site we all know and love just isn't the same. The days where anyone can be recognised, I think, is over. Homemade videos are being lost in the sea of high production costs and teams of professionals. It's actually really sad for me. As a new YouTuber, I'm facing the realisation that my chance of gaining traction is very limited. The sense of wonder once associated with YouTube is nothing more than a distant memory. It no longer feels like anyone can make it. But I guess I'm going to wrap it up there. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I'm sorry I leave it on such a sad note. It got really depressing there at the end. But I guess when Jake Paul's winning at life and I'm not, it really does make me wonder. But please like and subscribe if you did enjoy it. It would really mean the world to me. But regardless, stay safe out there, guys, and stay hydrated. Peace. Hey, top of the morning, happy campers. How's life on this lovely Friday? I hope you're all feeling okay and keeping safe from that nasty virus. Today, I want to talk about you.